Hey YouTube, it's Team Rocket. Got another drawing board deck profile for you guys. Basically just a deck that's kind of fun. You find that one card that you think is interesting or whatever, you want to try and make it as competitive as you can. It turns out this deck's actually really competitive. I knew it was going to be good, but I'm pleasantly surprised at how I did at locals today. I got second. Really only lost to a Dark World deck. One of them I just could not draw my win condition, and then the other one, I just fell just short of beating him, too much removal. But basically, here it is, final countdown. If you guys don't know what this card does, it's kind of older, so maybe some of you new duelists don't know. This is one of the 6 alternate win conditions. It's one of the 4 that are legal. Basically, you activate this card, pay 2,000 life points, and then after 20 turns, if the duel is not already over, you win. So, and basically what 20 turns means is you activate it, that's turn 1. Then your opponent's turn is turn 2, yours is turn 3, theirs is turn 4. So they basically have 10 turns to beat you. And so what you need to do is focus the deck is, 1, you need to be able to draw one of these 3 cards and activate it successfully, and then you also need to stall for 10 turns. So here's how I decided I was going to make this work out. Some of the different variants of this deck. There's the one that I went with. Pipers. Basically, this gives you a draw engine to get to the final countdowns faster, and the engine is rounded out by the YuGiOh. So basically how these work is you summon this, tribute it, draw a card. If it's a level 1 monster, you can draw again. So what I did is I just maxed out on level 1 monsters, which isn't hard to do in a deck where you're trying to stall, because there's a lot of level 1 monsters that help you do that. And then when you summon the BO, you bring back the Piper, pitch it, do it again. And basically once you get one YuGiOh, that's why I only played one, is once you have it, it's a spirit, so it keeps coming back to your hand. You can use it every turn, as long as you're not using Pod Duality that turn or something, or you don't have some other plans. So there's the main engine of the deck right there. And then here's the level 1 monsters you're going to get with it. And basically, each of these is going to buy you 1 turn on Final Countdown. And you only need 10 turns. So there's the Battle Faders, Swift Scarecrows. Scarecrows actually, I think it's better than Battle Fader in that it won't get Solemn Warning. They can side in debunks and get them, but it's less susceptible to your opponent's main deck. So those ones that are basically hand traps. You would stop your opponent by playing those from your hand. 3 more level 1s. Saddle Rallies. These serve 2 purposes in the deck. 1, to stall for a turn, and secondly, to get you to your final countdowns faster, help you draw some cards. You can also use them to pitch a final countdown that's dead in your hand, maybe the second one you drew. You can pitch it in this, and then get a useful spell back to the top of your deck. And I'll tell you the spell that I usually got with that. Just kind of helps make use of those final countdowns, turn them into something that you can use. So there are 9 level 1s that aren't Pipers or YuGiOh. So your odds right there. You're looking pretty good, maybe like 1 in 4 or better of getting that extra draw. So that's good. And then the last monster I played, Singin'. Basically just to get you whatever monster you feel like you need at the time. If you just need to buy that 1 more turn, maybe a Swift Scarecrow or Battle Fader, or if it's early in the game and you're still digging for the final countdowns, you can go with the Pipers to get your draw engine going. So saying it kind of becomes whatever you need them to be. And then more cards just to help you get the final countdown faster. Dualities. Upstarts. Upstart's a must in this deck, just because you don't care what your opponent's life points are. They can be winning. Actually happened to me a couple times where your opponent gets to like 11,000 life points, and it doesn't matter because you win with final countdown. You don't need to worry about their life points, so that's not a big deal. 1 Day of Peace from the new set, Photon Shockwave. This is the MVP of the deck because not only does it stall for a turn, it replaces itself. And people say, oh, but your opponent gets to draw 2. Yeah, I understand they get to draw 2. But when they get 10 turns, and you have to allow them at least 10 turns because that's your win condition, basically every deck you play is going to get to do what their deck does best. If you give any deck 10 turns, it's going to be able to pull off its engine or its win condition or whatever that may be. And basically this deck just has to weather the storm. You have to just accept that your opponent's going to be able to do whatever they want, except do damage to your life points. I mean, that's basically they can have as many cards on the field, as many cards in their hand as they want, as many cards in their graveyard or whatever. But you just gotta know and have confidence that your stall cards will pull you through. So don't worry about the cards that they draw with the 1 day of peace. And then here's some more stall cards. You play 2 Swords of Revealing Light now, so that helps us deck a little bit. Not as helpful as you think it would be, just because these become MST magnets. But it is nice to have that extra spell card. And if you do get the 3 turns off this, they just lost, you know, a third of their time, and they only get 10 turns, and you just wasted 3 of them. So I mean, this has to become a priority for them to get rid of these. And then 2 more. Basically, Nightmare Steel Cage is kind of a poor man's Swords of Revealing Light, so play 2 of these. Didn't play 3 because, like I said, they just become targets for MST, and where they basically become like, that's really fragile. If you're banking on this to get you through for a turn, you're probably in a bad spot, because they can come up with a monster to remove this, or a spell or trap, and it's just, I don't really like having to rely on this. You usually have to set one of these other cards alongside of them, like the Threatening Roars, the Wabakus, or their bastard cousin, Thunder Ruler. Thunder Ruler, this card sucks. I wish I had a better alternative. But it does stop the battle phase, so you gotta roll with it, because it gets you that turn that you need, and you only need 10 turns, so you gotta play them. But the downside of this is that you can't chain it. If they activate, you know, an MST on their draw phase, or on your end phase, or whatever, you're screwed. You can't chain this to anything. But with the Wabaku and Threatening Roar, you can kind of hide what you're doing until they, you know, waste a card on it. But Thunder Roar, you're kind of forced to show your hand earlier, which, I mean, isn't a big deal because you're getting your turn out of it. I just wish it was chainable. But having to activate it during your opponent's standby phase is kind of a downside of that. And then the last card, Torrential. Basically just went with Torrential because people start to see their turn counter start to run down. You know, they've got 2 turns left or 4 turns left. They start to panic, and they'll start summoning as many monsters as they can, even though they know, like, say they saw you get that Threatening Roar off of a Pod Duality or something, so they know you have it, but some players will panic anyway and just try and put as many monsters on the field as they can. That's where you punish them with the Torrential Tribute. You know, just let them get as many monsters out there as possible, and then hit them with this. So that's the deck. It's pretty straightforward. Just basically, you have to get to the final countdown. Get to these as early as possible, and then protect your life points. One thing to keep in mind, though, life points, you only need 1 life point to win. I mean, you could have half a life point and win. So they're not as valuable as you may be tempted to treat them as. What I mean by that is, if it's early in the game and say they have, you know, a couple stun monsters on the field or something, so you're going to take 3,800 damage that turn. They got 2 1,900 beaters or something. Take that damage is my advice, because you paid the 2,000, so now you're at 6,000. Well, say they have 3,800 damage on the board, and you're gonna have to take that damage. Yeah, it sucks, but what you can do is you can take that damage that turn, because next turn, when they drop, say, a Synchro monster or something else for another 2,500 attack, all of a sudden you can't take those attacks anymore. I mean, that's 6,300 damage, and you only have 6,000. So if you use your Threatening Roar on that first turn, you have to use another Threatening Roar on the next turn, or another card to stall. But you could take that first attack early game, and then save your stall cards for later. So that would be advice if somebody wanted to try a deck like this. Just try and save your cards as long as you can. Just because you have a Battle Fader and can protect your life points doesn't mean you always should. Because, I mean, like I said, you're not trying to win the life point battle. You're just trying to survive as many turns as you can. And if you have to take a beating early in the game, that's fine. So be it. Just don't panic. So that's the final countdown deck. Let us know what you think. If you guys have any ideas, or maybe something I didn't think of. Also side deck cards. Basically, my side deck today was like Hanawata's, DD Crows, and Veilers, because they're level 1s. And I thought the Hanawatas were going to be good, because the only deck I was really worried about was a burn deck. because I can stop you from attacking me, but I can't stop you from burning my life points, doing direct damage. So never actually needed the side deck, but maybe if you guys come up with something that's more useful that I could put in there, or maybe a way to transform this into something else, let me know, and I really appreciate the input. And once again, we say this all the time, but let us know what you guys want to see on this channel. You know, if you guys like weird decks like this, if you like mainstream decks, or if you want to see more duels or tech updates, let us know, and we'll get those up here for you. So this is just our, drawing board deck for Final Countdown. So there it is.